Was that?
Yeah. Right, we're on. Hello and welcome back to the Red and White preview. This week with myself, the host, we have the Sunderland YouTuber, SAFC Fan TV, panellist, the man who has just hit 2,000 subscribers, been a long time coming, Michael Bowers. How are you, Michael, mate?
Thank you for the kind words, Jack. I'm doing good. You doing okay?
I'm doing fine. Excited for this. And representing Fleetwood, he has the channel of Cod's Vlogs. He has met Joey Barton, which we will be getting into most certainly. Ben, how are you, mate?
Very good, mate. I hope you're all well. Thank you for having me on, lads. Appreciate it.
Right, okay. So, Michael, quick word on Saturday. Where do you think it all went wrong?
Right, in advance, would you prefer me not to swear, just so I know not to go full on?
If you can, we'll keep away from it.
Right, I'll try and say the censored version.
Yeah.
Okay then, let's see. First half played very well. First 25 minutes I thought it was a dull game to watch. I thought first 20 minutes was a bit of a boring hoofball spectacle. But as the half grew on, Sunderland were easily the better side. Granted, Bitter scored a thunderbolt, which was just an absolutely cracking goal. And then I think even the second half, I know I've watched your first episode actually, and I know there was a bit of a debate on whether about how the second half went. I was kind of more along the lines of what Matthew said, that I think that Doncaster did create a few half chances, but I did feel that Sunderland were matching them quite well and stood up to the challenge quite well. But as I'm sure, but I won't bore you with this because you'll see me on my own channel on TV. The lack of substitutes from Parky cost us 2 points in that game, where had he just brought fresh legs on to combat Doncaster coming at us, we probably would be sitting here with a 1-0 win instead of a 1-0 draw. Even though I thought the defence was awful for the equaliser, in general, they defended very well all game, which makes it very frustrating that in the last minute, when we really needed them to stand up just one more time, they fell short. But the biggest disappointment for me isn't Doncaster, it's losing to MK Dons. Had we beat MK Dons, I'd have said a draw against Doncaster isn't a bad result, but it isn't. Yeah. But yeah, you know what it is. We just move on and hopefully we win this Friday, but we'll see.
I really do agree with what most of you said there. One thing I want to ask you was, with the way that we kind of gave the game away, the way we gave the game away, do you not think it was in any way more caused by individual errors as opposed to Parkinson? I know I definitely agree with you about the substitutions thing. I think that game was calling out for Deion Sanders, and I also think the game was calling out for just as many subs on the pitch as possible. I even think George Dobson would have been a good option to bring on had he even been in the matchday squad. So do you not think in any way that the way we lost was maybe more down to the squad and individual errors, where I believe Wright made an error that led to the goal, even though he's been classic for the season. Maybe Flanagan was overcommitting as well.
Yeah, there's definitely an element of that. I mean, obviously, I do mainly blame Parky for the 2 points drop because I think that it didn't help the defenders out. But in saying that, as a professional footballer, you shouldn't get his. I don't know why Flanagan lets himself. And Flanagan, I thought, had a very good game actually overall. But it was just annoying that one mistake proved to be costly. And Bailey Wright is trying to chest. I don't know if he's trying to Cruyff turn chest the ball in his own box. But what you should be doing in that situation is just get rid of it. You've got about 60 seconds left on the clock and a crucial time in the match. Get rid of it. I don't know what he's attempting to do there. It's not necessarily through a lack of effort. It's just frustration. And like I said, as much as we're probably going to disagree on Parkinson now, but player responsibility gets overlooked far too much in football. Kevin Ball talks about it all the time. I've interviewed Uni and he goes on about it. And I don't know what Ben's thought is for Fleetwood, but obviously, player responsibility gets overlooked far too much. And compared to the manager, they do get off quite lightly from fan criticism, in my opinion.
Yeah. Ben, last Saturday probably couldn't have went any better for you, really. A 5-1 win against Fleetwood. What were your thoughts on that?
Very good.
I'm sorry.
Very good. We were outstanding. We backed up a good away performance at Bristol Rovers where we won 4-1. We were unlucky a couple of games before in the league where we'd lost to Charlton, who went toe-to-toe with them. They were 7 games unbeaten. I think the last game that they didn't win was against you in an 0-0 draw. They've brought a few players in since then and they've been revitalised. But again, 5-1, Finlay getting a goal and assist. And we've got Burns getting up and running, Mulgrew getting up and running in. Camps getting another 2, 8 goals in the league this season. So much versatility in the game. 4-2-3-1, 1 minute, 3-4-3 the next, 3-5-2, 4-3-3, 4-4-2. So it's really, really good to see, and we're outstanding, and the best is yet to come from this team.
Yeah, you mentioned a lot of things there that I'm going to bring up. One thing in particular I want to bring up with you, Ben, was obviously you won 5-1 against Plymouth. I believe you won 4-1 the week before. That was against Bristol Rovers, off the top of your head. Yeah,
away from home.
Yeah, but it seems as if you had a relatively poor start of the season after ending last season on such a high. What do you think's changed in the last few weeks and made things click?
We've got a defence, simple as that. We started off the defence with we had two 18, 19-year-old defenders, a right winger and one left back who is better going forward than defending, in my opinion. So it was always going to be a water shop, and we played some decent sides in the early part of the season who, Rochdale and Wimbledon, who we lost to, aren't the greatest, but they're going to sit back and they're going to defend, and we struggled against that, I found. But we've got a defence now. We brought Mulgrew in, we brought Connolly in, we brought Tom Edwards in, and we've been superb since then. We've got a good back line, we've got a great attacking line, and we, in my opinion, there's no squad that comes close to us that are better than us as a squad. The 5 subs we brought on the other day were Paul Coote, Glenn Whelan, Barry Mackay, Ched Evans was amongst them as well, and it's so good to see, and we've just got the squad that's fit to go up, in my opinion, and we're looking really strong at this moment in time.
Yeah. Michael, to bring you back in there, obviously this season we've been playing 3 at the back. I'm going to make a little plug here. I've got Danny Collins coming on here very soon. This is a question I really want to ask him, his experiences playing 3 at the back. But what are your thoughts on the 3 at the back system? Do you think it leads us to being quite one-dimensional and being exposed out wide? Or do you think it's the right system for us as a team? Or in fact, does it not really matter at all?
Well, obviously it depends on, like Ben will know for Fleetwood, it depends entirely on the players you've got and what system and formation and tactics they're comfortable with. For us, for a back 3, I think whenever we've tried a back 4 within the last year, I felt we've looked very vulnerable and very open.
I agree with you.
But especially the negative of this system is that whoever's playing wing back has got so much pressure on them, because we play through a lot. If, for example, like for any Fleetwood fans, all you need to do is just stop our wide players and you've practically won the game, it feels like. Because a lot of the time our midfielders don't take enough responsibility. But in saying that, like, the wing backs are such a crucial, because we rely on them. We over-rely on them for a lot of the creativity. But for me, if we're playing 3 at the back, the system I would try and use is 3-4-1-2. Because if you had someone behind 2 strikers, and they've got to be 2, or even if Maguire's up there with Wyke, for example, and Gooch is behind them, you can get them into a team, and Gooch could be quite good at finding pockets of space when he isn't trying to over-dribble himself into trouble. If you then had like Scown and Ledbetter sitting a bit further deeper, then fair enough. But I don't know. It depends on the system and players you got. It worked quite well at the start of 2020, which I will give to Parkinson.
Yeah,
that we used that system, and that was before Bailey Wright came in. We smashed Wickham 4-0. We beat Lincoln 3-1. We drew 1-1 at Fleetwood. Now I didn't watch that game, but apparently a couple of my mates were saying who did watch that game that we should have won that game based on the chance we created. I didn't watch the match, so you two might be able to tell me better. But in saying that, it can work as long as there's enough. As long as you don't try and shoehorn players into positions like 09 at centre half, for example. If you don't attempt that, Play as long as you keep it simple enough and don't overcomplicate things, it can work. But it just depends on what. But at this point, Parkinson's going to stick with it, isn't he? Though he's going to stick with 3 at the back. He's not going to change it unless circumstances desperately dictate that he does.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge fan of the 3 at the back system. I think, to me, if you've got the players to do it, then do it. Is my idea. But I think at times this season, quite often we haven't had the players to do it. And it speaks volumes when you're putting Luke O'Nien in at left centre back, how desperate you are, as opposed to just going back to 4 at the back for a game here and there. I also think it offers us something a bit different, and teams aren't expecting it. And it's the same point with the youth players, where they aren't going to have scouted a 4 at the back system in the same way they aren't going to have scouted these youth players. So the youth players is definitely one thing I want to get into. I just think that if you put the 4 at the back system, they aren't going to expect that, and if they're going to shock, you're going to. And I think the reason why we got done so well at the start of 2020 was because we shocked teams. Ben, the game that Michael just mentioned there, he said he didn't watch it. I remember I was there. I was in the stand behind the goal. My first time down at Fleetwood. How do you think that game went? Because personally, I agree with what Michael was saying, what his friends were saying, where to be honest, I think we were probably the better team. We were probably quite unlucky to not win it, especially looking at the last half an hour of the game. I know it was quite a while ago now, but if you can remember.
Yeah, I can agree with bits. I think if you shaded, but it was definitely not a dominant display where
No.
Came away from the game thinking something, because I reckon Fleetwood had 5 or 6 big chances in that second half where the goalkeeper at the time made a couple of good saves. I think we had a post. We were very unlucky not to get a penalty. Probably our penalty was never a penalty at all. I don't know why it was given still to this day. But I think a draw was probably fair, but you shaded it, mate.
Yeah. One thing you aren't going to get away from, we were speaking about this just before we started recording, Joey Barton, a man who you have interviewed a few times. Obviously, you are going to get some stick in the comments for that.
Done bet on that. Very good.
A man who is really unpopular among Sunderland fans for obvious reasons. We'll get into his ability as a manager a bit later on. But I just want to ask you, as someone who's obviously, I know you're a big fan of him as a manager and you clearly get on with him and you like him, but one thing I want to ask you is, what do you think of his off-the-field antics? Does it at all put you off him slightly? I don't want to say anything in case it hasn't been proven or whatever, but I believe he's been to prison. There was obviously the incident with Daniel Stendhal, and that's just the start of it. There's been a lot of instances where a lot of the things he's done have been highly disrespectful towards people and, well, criminal. So I'm just wondering, does that not at all kind of cloud your judgment of him slightly? Do you not put him off you slightly?
No. Obviously, I was at first thinking, why we appointed him, really? I wasn't happy, but he's proved me wrong. And my approach is, you can only change the future. He's done bad things, don't get me wrong, but he can't change them now. He's done them. He'll never be taken back. He can only change as a better person going forward, and he is starting to do that. That's all you can ask of him. With his Daniel Stendhal, I don't think it's as bad. I'll be honest, I've probably got rose-tinted glasses on, but I didn't see it, so I can't comment. But as a manager, he's here to manage a football team. He's here as a manager of a football club. So that is what I judge him on. I judge him on results. And so far, he's done so well. I think footballing brain, and he knows how to outsmart the opposition a lot of the time.
Yeah, I'll hold my hands up and give him credit for how well he's done as a manager. He's someone who I said, well, if it wasn't for his off-the-field antics and obviously the obvious reason with him being a Newcastle United legend, really, and someone who seems to hate our club, he's someone who I've said, well, if you would take that aside, he's a very good manager and probably someone I wouldn't mind managing the club myself. But you've got to, provided you take those out of the equation, of course, I would never want him anywhere near Sunderland.
Sorry, mate. I think if you had him, you wouldn't be in League One now. That is just my opinion. You've been too soft. You've been too flaky. You've not been good enough. You've rolled over to He wouldn't have that. He'd have you playing good football, attacking football, and you'd go out to attack, not just to defend 1-0 lead. So if Barton was your manager, you'd be in the Championship by now, 100%.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you. Michael, you want to get in?
I was going to ask Ben a question, actually. I've been asked before whether I would have Joey Barton as Sunderland manager. Now, granted, it was in a pretty Mickey take question for a bit of banter. But I did say that I think we could do a lot worse than Joey Barton, because he seems to me, and Ben can tell me about this, and I want to know what he's like with the Fleetwood players. Is he the type of person that sets a very high standard that if a player is not performing to their best level, he will let them know that they're not performing to their absolute best of their ability and will drop them if they're not playing well?
Absolutely. You've seen it with Cairns. He's been dropped. I think a lot of other players, he's not afraid to, you're Paddy Madden, you're Shed Evans, you're Paul Cooch, you're Glenn Whelan. He's not playing well. He'll bring someone else in, and he'll bring youth in if he needs to, and he's proven a point. And his training levels are high. He works on different things that other managers might not do. Obviously, he's got the attitude of we win or we learn, and obviously the Kaizen approach, and we get better every day. And I really think that he will go far in management. I don't think he'll ever manage Sunderland.
I wouldn't want him to.
I know you won't want him.
Yeah, you'd be hard pressed to find any Sunderland fan who wants Joey Barton.
I promise you this. I think Fleetwood will get promoted to the Championship if Barton stays quicker than Sunderland will get promoted with Phil Parkinson to the Championship. I don't think Sunderland will never get promoted. I just don't think Parkinson's the right man where I think Barton is. So if you put Barton in front of the Sunderland job, I think you'd go up 100% because you'd be playing good football that would be happy with your fans, and you'd get a squad fighting. And some players might come out of the shell, some big players might leave the football club, but you'll notice, you'll question it. But say a year or two later, you'll see how good he's done.
Yeah. Michael, did you want to get in there or not? More than 5 if you were.
No, I mean it's just that exactly this. Well, a lot of the things that Ben said are spot on. I think obviously I wouldn't particularly want Joey Barton specifically, but someone with his type of play where it's like no, if you know, like for example, I don't know, like when we drew 2-2 with Accrington Stanley a couple of years ago, like I'm pretty sure if say Joey, just say very hypothetically Joey Barton was our manager at the time, I think he'd be going off it in the sense that lads, you've just drawn 2-2 at home to Accrington Stanley.
Yeah, it's not good enough.
Stanley, that isn't good enough. That's the sort. I like the as much. If I was to take the Sunderland thing, because I personally think Joey Barton is quite unprofessional in the sense when he makes it all about himself v Sunderland, whereas to him, it should be just about how Fleetwood's chances are in the game. You should be focusing on your own team instead of going on about that. Now, obviously, I know Ben probably isn't going to feel that way. Obviously, I'm going to feel that way as a Sunderland fan. But in terms of management, I can't knock him. I think he's done a cracking job at Fleetwood. And actually, Ben's prediction about I think at the minute I have a lot more confidence in Barton taking Fleetwood up than I do Parkinson taking us up. You know, it's just one of those things. And if Barton, obviously, this is his first. Am I right in thinking this is his first job in management?
Yeah, first job in management.
Yeah, okay. And safe to say, look, if he gets Fleetwood promoted, fair enough. I can't knock him. There's no way. What a great achievement that is, getting Fleetwood at the Championship. And I think Fleetwood could have a chance of competing in the Championship if Barton was the manager. Obviously, Ben, you'll know more than me. Do you agree with that, or am I way off the mark?
I agree with that, and I think your comment about Barton's spot on, but I think he does sometimes, make it about himself, but he does it in a way, and I like it. And I spoke to another Sunderland fan, and he made the exact point. He makes it about himself. You fans give him 90 minutes abuse. Oh, we hate Barton, we hate Barton, we hate Barton. I bet when you play 22 other clubs in the league, every time a player gets the ball, boo, 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 whistling, we're getting him off the... You don't get that with Fleetwood, you just get it with Barton. We can concentrate on our natural game. We'll come and play our attacking football. You're not on us, you're not on your play, you're on our manager who can't even affect the game. So I think it helps us. I think with the squad that we've got, Paul Coots, Duffy, Evans, Madden. I think he's done a good job with a good bunch of players, which is hard. I think in League One to kind of get the balance because they can be big egos and maybe too good for this level. But I think
Marcus Madison,
this squad with a few additions, he could really help. And I never want to say we're going to get promoted because I don't want to kid myself or get too excited. But I just want to take one game at a time. It's not our target to win the league or go up as promotion. It's just our target to win every game, really. As Mourinho said about Spurs the other day.
Yeah, I think both of you have took the words out of my mouth with Barton there. But everything, I think he is a fantastic manager. You've got to give him credit for the job he's done at Fleetwood. And I think Michael is right about making the entire game about himself, really. Ben, one thing I want to ask you, obviously you're a Fleetwood fan. I would imagine you know absolutely loads of Fleetwood fans. If it wasn't for the current situation, you'd be going and seeing a few thousand of them every other week. In terms of the Fleetwood fan base, because of your connection with Joey Barton, would you say that among Fleetwood fans, is there in any way any hostile feelings towards Sunderland or not? Because I personally feel as if Joey Barton treats Sunderland as a bigger fixture than he does Blackpool, which is obviously your rival.
Well, first of all, is Blackpool Fleetwood's main rivals? Let's just make that clear.
I think it is.
Ben will know more than us. He'll know more than us who their main rivals are.
At the moment, yes, they'll go with. I don't class it as a rival. I think it's a derby. We've played each other many years now, and last 5 or 6 years. Our main rivals have been kind of Telford, Southport, those types of rivalries. Obviously, when we beat Farsley Celtic, got I think 6 points. Farsley Celtic got plunged out of the league. So we had all our 6 points taken off, and where they probably had 4, they went up. And since then. That was the end of the straw because we lost that promotion because of that. But yeah, I don't hate Sunderland. I like Sunderland. I want to see them do well. I just go there thinking I want to beat them because of the Sunderland. it is a Sunderland presence, really, and I feel like we are a better team and a better squad than them. So just because we've got more fans doesn't mean it's a big game, but it's always nice when we play here.
Yeah.
Well, that was the point I was going to bring on. What Ben's actually said, that obviously every team in this league is going to view Sunderland that way, in the sense that it's Sunderland. They were in the Premier League a few years ago. What a historic victory it would be if we were to beat them. Like, I'm sure the game a couple of years ago when it was under Jack Ross, where we took the lead, Cattlemore scored, and then Fleetwood scored twice and scored like in the 90th minute.
You'll have never forgot that.
Ben, tell me if I'm wrong, and I apologise if it sounds like I'm being pretentious. I think that would have been probably one of the best results of Fleetwood's. One of the more memorable. Well, actually, that's one of the more memorable results for Fleetwood. They would look back at that quite fondly, I would think.
Yeah, and I was literally, that was going to be my next question.
By the way, just to make it clear, from what I heard, Fleetwood absolutely deserved the victory that night. But apparently, the result was completely unfair. Now, so thanks very much, Ben. You can find us to the playoffs, even though we ended up bottling that anyway, and we got gifted a goal in the playoff final. But
I know, of course. I think it was the fact that. I didn't win a game. I think we lost every game pretty much that we went behind in that season, and we won. It was a night game under the lights. Come back, play well, and come back 90th minute win. It's always going to be special. And but again, I in my opinion, it's in me top 10 games, but it's not in my top 3 best ever results. I'll be honest, it's up there, maybe in my top 10, but I think maybe the result against Millwall at home to get us into the playoff.
Okay, fair enough then.
Yeah.
Result against Wickham, and I think there was better results last year than there was when we beat you. I wouldn't put that in my top 3.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
I think the point more or less is that Sunderland need to, because obviously a lot of teams are going to come against us with that mentality, and Sunderland need to. By now, we're in this league for 2.5 years. Obviously, from our perspective, that's embarrassing. We're in here for 2.5 years. We should be used to that by now, and we should find a way to get around that, and we just haven't done it yet.
Yeah, no, it was a fair question. I think you're right there, Michael, where teams all of a sudden do put that extra 10-15% in, because a win against Sunderland isn't just 3 points, it's 3 points, and a win against this big club, which, yeah, we are a League One team now, but there's no disputing that. I think teams definitely come at us with the attitude of, this game will go down as more special than any other win this season, apart from, of course, if it's a last-minute winner in the final game that wins you the league or something along those lines. Michael, bringing you back in again, I asked this question to Matthew last week. I don't know I think you did watch the previous show for the last game, regarding the midfield. Now, if we were to play, as you say, the 3-4-1-2 system, 4-2, which I was midfield, more or less. Out of the current midfielders we've got, who would be your ideal midfield 3 as a central 3?
So assuming a 3-5-2, I'm assuming in the 5, the two out wide players are the wing backs.
Of course, yeah.
Well, okay, 3 midfielders. Ledbitter's got to be one of them. There's absolutely no way that Ledbitter can't be in there. I've heard mixed reports on Scowen at the weekend, because I thought, Scowen or Scowen, whatever their name is.
He's inconsistent.
I know that's the thing. I mean, and the thing is, I was going to say he shouldn't be, really, because he came from the Championship and apparently he was playing quite regularly at QPR. But then again, he didn't play for us for like 6 months. Obviously, you know my thoughts on Max Power. I think that, obviously, I know Sean Middleton, obviously on SCFC Fan TV, really, I do think makes him a scapegoat a lot of the time. I think he overblames him for a lot of things that aren't his fault. But if I was to pick 3 midfielders at the minute, Ledbitter, I'd be tempted to give Embleton a go. Well, realistically, if it was going to be a midfield 3, realistically, it would be Scowen, Ledbitter, and one of Power or Dobson. Because Parkinson doesn't trust the youth. Quite clearly, he doesn't trust the youth. If it was up to me, I would give Embleton a run in with Ledbitter and possibly Scowen. I'd give Scowen the benefit of the doubt at the moment, but if his performances don't improve, he has to be dropped.
Can I just say?
Yeah, sure.
Caption them. Can you never mention that man's name, Max Power, ever again?
Why is that, Ben?
He stopped us getting automatic promotion. Absolutely.
He did the same thing to us.
Okay, I'll just point out. Who was the guy who scored Fleetwood's winner against us in the 18-19 season that ended our top 2 hopes?
Ashton Addison.
Oh, okay. No, I can't get too annoyed. I'm just annoyed that Sunderland bottled a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, I think it was actually that win that didn't it? Wasn't it that win that
That win,
confirmed that we
that
wouldn't.
win.
I remember Barton watched the Mad Mistakes video and tweeted it. It was hilarious.
Do you know what? Do you know the thing is, he made Mad Mistake quite a bit of money there, actually.
Exactly.
So,
We're in his head rent-free, Michael.
Do you know what, right? I don't blame Fleetwood for that because Fleetwood were there that night to do a job. They were there to win the game. They're not going to roll over and take it. No team's going to. It would be naive to expect it. But it was just more. I remember I was at work and I saw we were 1-0 up and I thought, okay, we're not going to get top 2 anyway. But let's see, we might give us a slim chance. Then I saw it was 1-1, and then my work colleague, who's a Newcastle fan, by the way, I get on with him quite well. We have a bit of banter back and forth. He told us it's 2-1 Fleetwood. I was like, shut up, it's not. And then he actually showed it. I was like, Sunderland, you bottling bottle jobs. You absolute bottle jobs. It was just so hilarious. You know, it's not the first time Fleetwood. I think is it out of the games we've had in the league, I'm sure 2 of them have involved 90th minute goals.
Max Powers. Oh god.
Like, I'm sure because there was the 1-1 draw up here at the back end of not long before lockdown last season, and then obviously the year beforehand was that. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent. I'll stop.
Yeah, that's fine. Michael, you mentioned a player there in Elliot Embleton. He's definitely a player who I want to say come in more. Obviously, he played against Fleetwood. I don't think he was brilliant the other week when we played them in the Papa John's stuffed crust. Was it the Papa John's cheese stuffed crust
I think
trophy?
it was Papa John's stuffed crust pizza trophy or something.
Yeah, something along those lines. But when you look at our under 23s, there's been a lot of calls for players to come in. I asked the same question to Matthew on the review show just yesterday. Obviously, we've got Elliot Embleton. Jack Diamond's made a few appearances at the Mad Mistakes Love Affair. Dan Neal has came in. Hawk, of course, he's been involved in the Fleetwood game. One player really impressed me in the Papa John's game was Oliver Younger. I know he's injured at the moment, I believe. Yeah. You've also got the likes of Brandon Taylor, Mitch Curry, plenty of players on the 23s. I know this discussion is largely pointless because Parkinson's never going to bring them in. But if you had to bring any of the youth players straight into the first team, straight into the fold of, they will be either starting or getting a good time off the bench, good 30 minutes here and there. And which of the players would you bring in and why?
The main 3 that I talked about mainly, which is Embleton and Neil and Diamond. I was going to go Embleton and Neil Diamond there. Those are the ones that I would probably use. In the set, I wouldn't. Embleton, I might start. The other 2 I would have off the bench, but I would have them coming on with 25-30 minutes to go because I think Fleetwood would probably be the only team who kind of know what they're about because they faced them a couple of weeks ago. A lot of others. So let's abandon that for this Friday because it probably won't work. After that, when you've got like Burton and Wigan at home, both of which are must-win games, by the way, because they're they're both the bottom 2 teams in the league. We don't make it that simple, but still, they won't know them. It'll be completely unpredictable to those sides. And after a while, obviously teams will get used to them. But I think that could be worth the extra 10, 12 points we could get out of that. That could be something that's a massive difference. I just think as well with young players, from our perspective, that if you're not going to be ready in League One, you're probably not going to do it yet. It's a very unlikely chance that you're going to make it in the Championship, which is a massive step up from League One.
Huge,
and that's not even talking about the Premier League. So if you're not ready in this league, then you've got very little hope of.
Yeah, you're not going to make it as a Sunderland player for any length of time. I think for me, the thing with both Neil and Diamond is I see a real way for us to solve the main problem of the team, which for me it's been a lack of creativity and in particular a lack of energy and tenacity in the midfield. Don't get us wrong, Grant Levitt has probably been our most consistent performer last season, and for me he's one of the first names on the team sheet when he's fully fit. As you say, Scour's been quite inconsistent. I mean, I'm probably one of the only people in the world who seems to even rate George Dobson enough to have him on the bench. I've made it clear I'm really not a huge fan on Power. I don't really say what he contributes, but I think if you have Dan Neil in there, obviously he can play in centre mid, attacking mid. He solves the problem where he might be able to offer us a little bit of creativity, along with him being a bit unpredictable to teams who won't have scouted him, whereas they will have scouted the likes of Power and Ledbetter. But you've also then got Jack Diamond in there. Now, when I say that he could offer us a bit of creativity in midfield, people might think, what? But for me, I say a clear pathway if Jack Diamond plays right wing back, which he has done, and he's done a decent job. I think he's lacking a little bit of end product, but he's certainly provided us with a good positive outlet going forward. You can then bring Luke O'Nien into midfield. Now, for me, I think we've seen the best out of Luke O'Nien as a number 10, just off the striker, going forward, getting runs in the box. I remember he played against MK Dons last season when he scored that dink goal.
Yeah, he did.
Played against Burnley in the cup. Is that something you would do? Do you agree with it? Do you agree with this? Do you think if Diamond was to come in, that it putting Luke O'Nien into a number 10 role or even into a box-to-box midfield role, do you think that would that would offer us something we don't have?
Potentially. I think I view O'Nien as a right wing back now, because I think that's what he's been predominantly playing for like 18 months now. Probably for the good part of 2 years, he's been playing on the right side of defence. I would give it a go. I think as long as you play Sanderson at right wing back, because I've made it clear that I haven't rated Conor McLaughlin in the past. But I think
he's done okay this season.
To be fair, yeah, I was just about to say that. This year, I think he's actually been quite good, and I think he was my man of the match on Saturday.
He played for Fleetwood, didn't he?
Yes, he did, didn't he? How did he do at Fleetwood?
He was decent. I think there's better. I think the two we've had seen. I'd say Edwards, who we've got now, is better, but he was okay defensively. But going forward, he wasn't the greatest.
Yeah. See, I think this season he's fit in really well in the right centre back role, which, especially in our team, was quite an odd position where you're kind of a bit like a right back, but kind of a bit like a centre back. It's an odd role in terms of the ratio of going forward and defending, but I think he's done quite well. Michael, would you not say?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think as well that I think McLaughlin as a part of a back three and a centre back, I think he can actually succeed there because there's less pressure on him to go forward. And a right wing back, I don't think he's anywhere near good enough to. Well, as a right wing back, you've got to defend and attack on a consistent level at the exact same time during games. And McLaughlin hasn't got the energy or the speed to do that. Whereas I think O'Nien can play there, because I think he has got the attributes necessary to do that. But if you were to play to your original question, if you were to play O'Nien as a number 10 and have Sanderson right wing back, because I think he could play there. That's based off the Rochdale game, Mike, because that's the only league game he's played, I think. I would be open to that. I would.
Yeah.
Be open to that.
Yeah, I think you raise a really fair point now with Sanderson. I think whoever you go with, Sanderson or Diamond, you get something different. Maybe Sanderson in a game where you're going to know you have to defend more because he is more of a defender, whereas Diamond is more of a winger. I think he might have even played up front potentially only a few years ago in 23s. Ben, I want to bring you back in here. Obviously, you've been very positive about your club so far, as was Aaron last week from Doncaster. I've got here that Callum Camps, 8 goals in 13 games, the second top goal scorer in the league, I believe. Ched Evans, he's got 5 goals and 2 assists in 13 games. You mentioned a few players you thought there. Who would you say your main kind of 3, 4, 5 players are? Who do you think we should be really worried about going into the game Friday?
The two that you mentioned, Cam's 8 goals, 10 in all competitions. There's always Paddy Madden, he scores goals wherever he's always a 15, 20 goal season striker. I'll probably throw Roster in there. He's a good midfielder, box to box, back from a long-term injury now, and one of the best midfielders in the league. And then we've got a good defence team. Obviously, I think Charlie Mulgrew and Callum Connolly, will be
quite an experienced defence, that, isn't it? Quite an experienced defence.
Yeah, Connolly's 21 and Mulgrew's 34. So
but it was Mulgrew that rang a bell, yeah. Yeah. In terms of weak points, however, where do you think there's potential for us to exploit it as a team, if there is any?
Hard to say. I think since we've got these new lads, and I think if you get at us, we might concede. But apart from that, I can't really see any weaknesses at the moment. I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, you couldn't think of maybe one area of the pitch where you're lacking a little bit, or maybe going forward, it's when teams defend in this way we struggle. Because for us, it's when one thing, and Michael will back me up here. I know that when we look to go forward, if a team's scouted us well, done the homework, and done some effective drills, and they know what we're going to do to attack, our chances of scoring many goals in that game are very minimal because we are very one-dimensional. Is the no problems at all at Fleetwood where it's something we could be positive about?
Yeah, maybe crossing into the box could be a weak point, but obviously conceded the one the other day, but obviously we're 5-0 up. But I think it'll be a difficult game, it'll be interesting, and whoever wants it more than that will win it, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, that segued very well into the final question I want to ask you both. Michael, prediction?
2-1 Fleetwood. I'm being really pessimistic.
Oh, Ben.
Play that pub wash twice.
Sorry?
I said play Pugwash twice, Ben.
I'm not right. I need to ask Ben about this. It's definitely one of the more unique goal musics I've ever heard. What's your? I'm guessing you like it, but what was the thinking behind getting that as your?
We know it's the COD Army, obviously. Fish got it. It annoys other teams' fans. It's brilliant. I can't hear it on them actually because when I'm doing a stream, I've got the commentary mute. Obviously, when I'm doing my own commentary on my channel, it's kind of different.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. I like it. I'll probably go score prediction wise. I'll go 1-1. I think someone like a Charlie White for you will score ahead when I go for Chet Evans to Fleetwood.
Clearly, I haven't been watching Charlie White.
Ben, have you watched Charlie White?
I was going to say, header.
I just have a feeling he'll have a goal. So yeah, normally strikers that need a goal score against us. So welcome, lads.
Put it this way. If we were to keep a clean sheet, and I don't think we will, by the way, obviously by my prediction, if we were to keep a clean sheet, I would back Sunderland to win. But at the minute, we're not keeping clean sheets at the moment.
I think when you consider that they've just scored 5 goals.
I know exactly. I think
four against Bristol Rovers.
I think Fleetwood are going to be too good going forward for them to us to keep them out throughout the whole game. So there you go, Ben. You can call this back on this. I think you'll beat us. So
do you know what, Michael? I'm gonna agree with you.
I've been the most positive about your on here. Yeah, and I'm a Fleetwood fan.
The Fleetwood fan on this video is the most positive about us getting a result.
The one who actually wants us to get beat is the one who seems to rate us as much.
I don't like saying we're going to win and smash teams because I know there'll be clips on Twitter of me before and after. So I always go down the middle or just laugh. I'm going to go 1-1, but in my heart, I'll go 2-1.
See, I'm normally quite a positive fan, really. I mean, I'm part of the, I think, 0.00001% of fans that would still give Parkinson a little bit longer.
Well, I was going to ask then, on the subject of Parkinson, I want to ask Ben's opinion on this. Obviously, I've heard Jack's opinion on Parkinson. You've said yourself you don't think Parkinson... Am I right in thinking you said you don't think Parky's the right man for us? If you did say that, why do you think he's not the right man? Just out of interest.
Well,
as an outsider, what do you think?
I've watched bits of you, and obviously before machines, I do watch teams kind of, like, I've probably watched about 10-minute highlights of 6 or 7 games.
Yeah.
And what I've seen, you play very narrow. Obviously, sometimes it's a 3-5-2. You change it up a lot, so you can't get a settled formation. I find if you go 1-0 down, it's like, well, what do we do now, lads? Our plan's gone out the window. They've worked us out. What do we do?
You just spot on there.
Not happy.
Yeah.
He knows how to change a game. So I think if you do go 1-0 down, it's like, how do we get back into this? But he's an experienced coach. He's well at Bradford. Give him a chance. But I just don't like his football. I'll be honest. I think it's long ball and hope for the best. And White's good at holding the ball up, but he's not a goal scorer. And he's like a washing machine for me. He's just...
Yeah, I was just going to give my prediction there as a way to wrap things up. Personally, I'm really I said on the Mad Mistakes video 1-1, but I'm starting to question it now. But I'm going to stick by that. I think I'm going to go with the 1-1. But I think if I had to say, if that wasn't to come off, I think my prediction would probably be a 2-1 Fleetwood win. And that wraps us up quite nicely. So I'd like to say a massive thank you to both Michael and Ben.
No worries, mate.
Both of them will be in the description. Michael's just hit 2,000 subscribers. Do you want to speak about your channel just briefly,
Thanks,
Michael?
guys. Sorry?
Do you want to speak about your channel just briefly?
COD Vlogs, Fleetwood channel. Do a lot of League One videos with my opinions and nearing 6,000 subscribers.
Yeah. And Michael?
Well, obviously nowhere near so many subscribers as Ben, because I'm sure his channel's way better than mine. But thanks very much to everybody who does watch. It's greatly appreciated. It's basically just me trying to be balanced in the immediate aftermath of a game, which I think is quite difficult for a lot of fans to do. So if you like that and you're not sick of us by now, subscribe, please.
Yeah. Provided that we can get you both on, it would be fantastic to do what I do with both Aaron and Matthew and get you the same 2 guests on again so we can speak about the game after for the Red and White review as well as the preview. And then we can compare the talking points that we've discussed today and compare our predictions. So provided we can get you both on, that'll be brilliant.
So basically, when we're going to be talking about Fleetwood's 5-0 victory against Sunderland.
If we win, can I just bring posters of Joy Barton and go, "Hey, go on the Barton, yeah!"
And then you just get locked.
Just play his clip to 40 minutes of...
Why not? Let's have some banter.
I said to my mate yesterday, I'm not paying £10 for iFollow. I'd rather pay £10 to watch Barton's interview after the game.
Okay, one
Ben,
condition then. If Ben's going to bring pictures of Joey Barton, we have to bring pictures of Max Power.
No, I don't want to say Max Power, unfortunately. Ben, I believe
Fair enough.
on Friday as well, after the game, I'm meant to be coming onto your stream. Have we still got a plan for that, yeah?
No, you're not coming on. I'm only joking, yeah. Of course, you have, mate. It'd be excellent to have you on and get your opinions on. And
Yeah.
then goes to Michael if Francis coming on. But hopefully a good result for Fleetwood.
Yeah. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. As I say, and thank you to these two lads. Their links will be in the description. I mean, they're much bigger YouTubers than me, of course. I would imagine you'll have heard of them if you'll have heard of me. Tune in for the Danny Collins interview. That'll be coming very soon. About to do that now. The Red Mike preview as well as the Red Mike review for the Burton game and this game respectively be coming up soon. If you do like the videos, be doing a lot of these more podcast style, longer interviews, doing both previews and reviews as well. Hopefully getting a few more kind of interviews done with other people, YouTubers, and hopefully some big names as well. So plenty to look forward to. Please like the video if you have enjoyed. Subscribe if you like the sound of that and if you like this video. And thanks for watching, everyone.